Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel. This is Meredith Lego, and my channel is all about Ascension science and the expansion of consciousness. And first, I'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody. I hope that everybody had a wonderful holiday season and is preparing for a wonderful new year for 2024. So today, I'd like to share a message that I received, and it was a little cryptic. And it has to do with the concept of Celestine light or Celestine fire. So to set this up, I was meditating over the holidays, and what I found is sometimes my higher self and or guides will sort of give a small phrase or a word of something that I have literally never heard of before. And it's almost like there's sort of a knowing in my personality that I will do research on it. So this particular break, when I was taking vacation from work, basically got the phrase Celestine light. I'd never heard of it before, had no clue what it was. And that's it. That's all I got was the phrase Celestine light. And naturally, when I get stuff like that, it piques my interest. So historically in the past, I've gotten, this is even, before I know what these things are, I've gotten the word Dharma or mudras, which, I have to do research on afterwards to figure out. But the whole process actually is something that helps me do the exploration, and little by little starts to expand more of my awareness. So I actually like that is the method that's used to help in my expansion of consciousness process. So later that morning, I essentially did a channeling and asked, and this time I was in a position to be able to write down what I was getting back. I basically asked, well, what is Celestine light? Because I was curious about it. And so the answer I got was Celestine Fire is a white powdery substance that purifies dark shadow upon thought. The fine powder can light the consciousness to a heavenly state of higher frequency, sound, tone, and color. If you feel a tinge of sadness, depression, hatred, imagine a massive ball of Celestine fire around you. It instantly clears your aura and surrounding field. Simultaneously, hold the emotion of gratitude and love. Even if you can't create those emotions, simply imagine what it would feel like to be in a state of gratitude and love. Just that intention will equally clear your field. In the physical plane, the compound can be found in the crystal family as a transmuter with magnetic qualities. And so that's basically what I got. Now, what's interesting, I asked, what is Celestine light? And I got back what basically Celestine fire is. And basically it was stated that it's a white powdery substance that purifies dark shadow upon thought. So what that intended for me, or what that signified for me, is that it's something that we use through intention or thought in the quote unquote antimatter reality. But thoughts actually create things. And so essentially, if what they're saying is that you kind of imagine yourself almost like in a huge light, if you will, or fire, I guess you could say, surrounded by quote unquote Celestine fire that is basically emblazed, if you will, from white powdery substance. This essentially acts as a purifier of anything that could be treated or considered dark shadow. So dark shadow can be some of the things I think they brought up, which is, like sadness, depression, hatred, anything that sort of brings you into a lower frequency or makes you feel heavy, if you will. So what they're saying is essentially, if you essentially get, these sorts of feelings, just imagine yourself in, a Celestine fire of, white light, if you will. I probably have to imagine it's like imagining yourself in a fire of like a white flame that is sort of sparked by this white powdery substance. And that's going to have an enormous purifying effect upon probably your state of consciousness. And what they're saying, it also impacts your auric field or your electromagnetic field. Now, sometimes when I get these like one worder terms, I also do research to see, hey, is there anything out there on this term? Sometimes I'll get some stuff. Sometimes, I'll get a word and I'll say, does it match? Is there some sort of correlation to what I tend to get from my guides or from my higher self, or is it completely unrelated? Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. In this particular case, it seems like there is. So what I learned is that Celestine is actually, in fact, they had mentioned this. It was sort of a compound in the crystal family that transmutes it's a transmuter with magnetic qualities. And so I found out that sure enough, Celestine is a soft sulfate mineral. It's a crystal and it can be an ore. And it looks like it's used in flares and fireworks. So, it might be the components that go into fireworks that create the spark, that kind of fuse it. It can also be used in ceramic magnets and even toothpaste for sensitive teeth. So there you go. I'm not sure I'd want to use toothpaste with it, but interesting. That was pretty interesting that it completely matched with what I got. So so I think that the idea of this Celestine light came from my guides, who are a collective consciousness, and essentially then they provided a little bit more information on it later in the day. I did some research on it, and then found out that there does seem to be some substance that's in the crystal family, which is interesting because obviously we're becoming more crystalline, I think, in our consciousness thought process. So there's a lot of correlations going on here. And for those of you who might be new to my channel, I have done several videos on the past on what some of the changes are which are occurring to the human body as a result of the shift in consciousness that we're going through. So some of it, most of the changes can be happening due to just the kind of expansion of codes, but a lot of that is actually occurring because of transmissions of code or data that's actually happening through light sources, specifically from the sun. And that's actually having, like I said, effects on the physical body and the DNA. So I'm going to include some links to some videos or past videos that I've done on those topics, specifically what happens to the light body. I think I've done some videos actually on the concept of, how we're crystalline in nature. Our bones actually have piezoelectric qualities to them. So there could be more correlations that are going on here. So I think the most important thing is that, when we do have thoughts or intentions, they actually create real things that can manifest in the physical reality. So first, when you have a thought, again, you're creating sort of a harmonic tone or frequency that goes out and actually helps with the construction of actual matter in the physical world. And so when you're sort of imagining yourself sort of being surrounded or cleansed by, I guess, the Celestine fire, if you will, it can actually have a purifying effect and sort of transmute, if you will, transmute sort of any dark shadows that are certainly going on in your consciousness. But I have to imagine any sort of dark shadows that could be happening actually in the other dimensions that we can't necessarily see with our physical senses. So with that, I certainly hope that you have a great rest of your week, wherever you are across the world. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and look forward to seeing and sharing with you other information that I learn in the future as I continue to explore the expansion of consciousness. With that, lots of love, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye.